Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Property Subcommittee, Staffordshire County Council, today, Wednesday, the 1st of May 2024. Agenda item number 1, apologies. Do we have any apologies?
None received, Chair, thank you.
Agenda item 2, declarations of interest. Do we have any declarations of interest? Councillor Price.
Thank you, Leader. It's item 11, which is 10 Browning Street. That's in my division, so just thought I'd mention that.
Thank you. Councillor Winnington.
Thank you. I will possibly be speaking on the item number 13, and my partner actually works in not the same trust, a children's home.
Thank you. Any other declarations of interest? None indicated. Item 3, minutes of the meeting held on the 6th of March 2024. Is it your wish that I sign those off as a correct record of the meeting? Duly signed. Agenda item number 4 is amendments to the Property Subcommittee terms of reference. Ms Peach, we're with you.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, it is just to let members know, following the changes to the Cabinet member titles, I've made some minor amendments to the terms of reference. You'll see on page 7, I've shown the track changes there. And just to confirm as well, there are no changes to the decision-making schedule. That review is up in a year's time, in 12 months. So it's just to pass on those changes. Thank you.
The changes are in the document. Any objections to those being moved? So the proposal is to adopt the changes set out in the terms of reference. All those in favour? Agreed. That is unanimously carried. Agenda item number 5 is the transfer of freehold of Ranton Primary School. And we are with, where is he? Councillor DeVille.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. This is a transfer following some small extension works at the school. This simply transfers freehold to the trustees. Simple and straightforward transaction. I'd ask Ian if he'd got any background to add, Ian, please.
Just a reminder for committee members that for diocesan schools like this, the school building is with the trust in terms of property ownership, and the playing fields are with the local authority. So when they build on them, it's just a regularisation of that to confirm the area. It's 14 square metres. It is really just a routine item. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor DeVille, if you could turn your mic off.
Sorry, Chairman.
Despite the fact that it's 14 square metres, we do need to go through the proper processes. So local member interest. As it happens, we've got the local member with us, Councillor Winnington.
Thank you very much. Yes, it's quite simple. Just a question from me, really. I'm also a parish councillor at Ranton. At one point, the playing field was going to be opened up for use by local children. And that's fell by the wayside. Can you tell me what the status of the playing field is? Is it part of the academy, or is it or managed by the academy, or is it managed by the local authority?
So it will be owned by us, leased to the academy, and the academy will be responsible for all the upkeep of it, etc., etc. It's just the freehold title that will rest with us with an academy. But generally speaking, even on maintained schools, we would allow the school to decide what is and isn't done on their playing fields. Thank you.
Is that helpful?
Yes, thank you very much.
Right, finance.
No comments, Chair.
Legal.
No comments.
Valuation.
No comment from me either, Mr. Chair.
Anything further to add from Mr. Turner?
Nothing further from me, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. One recommendation, colleagues. The transfer of the freehold interest in the property required under the School Standards and Framework Act of 1988 as amended by the Education and Inspections Act 2006.
Any comments from members of the committee before we move to approve or otherwise? Nobody's indicating. You've heard the recommendations. All in favour?
Agreed.
That is unanimously agreed. Next item is the Academy lease approval, Doxey Primary School.
Yeah.
Is this everything in? This is your division again, isn't it, Councillor Winnington? Are we selling? Have we got everything going on in Councillor Winnington's division? Division today?
No.
We're not. We're just transferring.
It's-
Back with you, Councillor DeVille.
Thank you, Chairman. No, it's very straightforward, Chairman. It's a standard and straightforward transfer to an academy. Any further comments, Ian? Any background?
No, thank you. I think it is just a standard academy transfer.
Because we like to be consistent, if you could just turn your microphone off again, please, Councillor DeVille. Thank you. Local member, Councillor Winnington again.
Thank you. This is a really good opportunity to find out those little problems that have been niggly for years. It's one really for Ian, I think. Historically, that site's been parcels of land have moved backwards and forwards into local authority ownership and out again. The bit that I'm sort of want some clarity on is at the back of the school. When I say the back, it's furthest away from the Doxey Road. There is an area which was a play area. Then this school took a piece on for a nature area. Then they gave it back again, and now the parish councils and whoever else is putting it back as a play area. Is there a definitive map for that back piece of land, and who owns it? Because again, it goes back to the Doxey Marshes, and there's some interest as to who exactly owned it. Thank you.
I'm afraid I can't answer your question instantly. As a general point, when schools transfer to academies, they take a lease on the areas that they want and need for operational purposes. And there are a number of examples of where the county council is left with the rest to deal with, sometimes to our advantage, sometimes not. So generally the school will have taken what they need for their operational area and what won't disadvantage them in terms of cost and onerous responsibilities in terms of looking after some land that isn't part of them delivering their curriculum and their teaching. What I can do is, though, afterwards I can answer those questions for you specifically on the surrounding land and let you know exactly the transfer area.
Through the chair, that would be fantastic. I know it's a local issue, but it's something that, while it's fresh in your minds, would be good to answer. Thank you.
Councillor Winnington, any other observations on the proposal itself?
In terms of the proposal for over to Academy, I think that's fantastic and be really good for the area. In particular, now that we've got a new school, hopefully coming on Burley Fields, we should have a really good offer for local people. Thank you.
Finance?
No comments, Chair.
Legal?
No comments.
Valuation?
No comment from me either, Mr. Chairman.
Mr Turner, any final comments before I open it to the committee?
Nothing further from me, thank you.
Members of the committee, you've heard input from various people. Any comments? Councillor Price.
Yeah, thank you, Leader. I know it's about the property itself, but it was a school that had been struggling for some time, so it's really good to see the Creative Learning Partnership Trust take that on. They've got several schools within the area as well, and they will certainly help this site to improve attainment, etc. And it's just really pleasing to see, and I wish them all the luck in the world.
Councillor DeVille, nobody else is indicating, so if you could give us the recommendations, please.
Chairman, I thank members for those positive comments. As one recommendation, Chairman, the lease of sites set out in the schedule in the standard format to be approved.
All those in favour?
Agreed.
That is unanimous. Moving forward to agenda item number 7, the Grange Centre lease, Burton. I think we're back again with Councillor DeVille.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Burton Albion Community Trust are current tenants and have occupied this accommodation since 2015. We propose, Chairman, to formalise the occupation under a 5-year lease, with a community trust paying 37% of the services provided by the county. By providing this assurance of occupation, it will prove to be of benefit to Burton Albion Community Trust and will enable them to look at developing a sustainable, positive future.
Mr Turner, anything to add to that?
Nothing specifically from me. Peter Townley dealt with the negotiations with Burton Albion.
Mr Townley?
Thank you, Chairman. Essentially, it's continuation of the current position. They've been there under a tenancy at will for some time, and it's just regularising what the current situation is. They appear to do quite considerable local charity work and community work, as can be seen from the schedule. When I was there, it was well used, and there were lots of organisations taking part. So it's really just continue as it is.
Thank you very much indeed. Councillor Afsar is the local member. Is there any comments from him?
There is, yes, and I'll read them out. I'm happy for this decision to be carried forward and fully support the work of BACT and what they do in Burton and the wider community.
Thank you. Finance?
No comments, Chair.
Legal?
No comments, as it's just regularising the position.
Valuation?
We have put a valuation loss, if you like, in the report, the rent that we'd forego if we, so that's there for 13 to 15,000 estimated rental value. So just for, as it's an undervalue.
Thank you. And as an undervalue, it is relevant to this committee. Mrs Ballinger?
To officially note Wayne Waterboy's engagement and support of this project, he wanted it formally noting. Thank you.
Sorry, could you just repeat that for me?
He wanted, Wayne Waterboy, Strategic Delivery Manager, wanted to formally note his support of this and his engagement with the lease. Thank you.
Thank you. Members of the committee, any comments? Councillor Parry.
Please.
Did you? Sorry,
It
I did not see you at all because you. I was looking over in that direction to the team. So,
to speak up, Councillor Parry.
Councillor Parry, then Councillor White. My apologies.
I get the impression that people support the idea of BACT, that it does good work. But what makes it special to attract £15,000 of taxpayers' money to put into that? Burton Albion is a missed the drop. Burton Albion is a private company to all intents and purposes. If they're part of this, this is taxpayers' money going to support something, albeit what looks to be good community work. And there's lots of examples, isn't there, of good community work that doesn't receive 15 grand's worth of public funding. My question is, what makes this special?
Well, your question is germane to what I was going to say, just as a statement, just so it was on the record, and others might want to speak to it in more detail. But I think the thing that's really notable about the community trust, and I speak as a Burtonian myself, is how aligned they are to the council's priorities, particularly around children and young people. So the work that they're doing, which is focused on children and young people, particularly those in some degree of need, I think it's fair to say probably avoids this council some cost and work. The other thing that I'd say about the trust is that they're a genuine partner to this authority. So there are many occasions, the first one that springs to mind is during the pandemic, where they very much stepped forward to help us deliver the services that we needed to people in that time. So they're a good actor in the community. They are aligned to our policy priorities. So I think this is a reasonable proposal. I don't know whether, Laura, you have any further comments from a strategic delivery manager perspective about that. But my support and praise for the organisation is now a matter of record.
That's the reason Wayne wanted me to note his full support of this. The engagement that they have with the trust is invaluable in the district, and the work and the partnership working that happens, and they do support us in delivering our strategic outcomes.
are those strategic priorities for us? I'm being facetious. Sorry, I didn't mean to be. It's just that I wanted an assurance that this justifies £15,000 of taxpayers' money when maybe a community centre over there or a village hall over there doesn't, equally doing good work. If this is more strategic than that, that you see the stuff that they're delivering is very much aligned to what we're trying to deliver, and therefore, if you like, they're inputting to the delivery of our strategic plans, that makes sense. And I guess that's what I'm hearing. Thank you.
The fact is it is an undervalued consideration. And in such circumstances, I think that Councillor Parry alights on a point that needs to be addressed in the reports that come forward to this committee in future when it's an undervalue of this nature. We have to make a judgment as to whether or not this undervalue is worth more than an undervalue over there or over there, and why council taxpayers in the moorlands should forego general income to Staffordshire County Council as a consequence of a decision like this, albeit a relatively small amount. We would ordinarily see in cabinet decisions a community impact assessment and a financial assessment, so we understand the materiality of the money that is the income that's being foregone as a consequence of this undervaluation. It could be, in the case of this particular trust, that the value of the work they do in the community exceeds by many times the amount that we are looking to forego. It's from the indications from the deputy leader that is the case, and I will take I'll take the deputy leader's word, and indeed Mr. Mortiboy's and Mrs. Ballinger's word as a consequence of the reports that you brought forward, that this is indeed worthwhile as an undervalue. But I do think for future reference, when we've got an undervalue like this, for the reasons that Councillor Parry has set out, we do need to understand what the input, the value to the community is. It may not be financial, but it may actually be something that offsets costs elsewhere as a result of our decision to proceed. I think it's slightly more scientific, I think, is what we're potentially looking for. But as it stands, based on the comments of the Deputy Leader, I think I can see myself leaning towards supporting this for that reason, but I would welcome any input from other members of the committee before we proceed. Councillor DeVille.
Very fair challenge from Mr. Parry, Chairman. I think that based on the local knowledge of the Deputy Leader and, of course, of Wayne Mortiboy's and of Councillor Afzar, I'm satisfied that on this particular occasion, it not only satisfies our corporate objectives, but also fully satisfies important local community objectives as well. But I think a very, very fair and good challenge, Chairman.
If you could give us the recommendation, please, Councillor DeVille.
The recommendation is to grant a lease of part of the Grange Centre, Grange Street, Burton-on-Trent, to Burton Albion Community Trust for a period of 5 years from the 24th of June 2024 at a peppercorn rent, with apportionment of service charges and maintenance as agreed per occupied areas. Final terms and conditions to be delegated to the Assistant Director for Commercial and Assets. One recommendation, colleagues.
You've heard the recommendations. All those in favour?
Agreed.
That is approved unanimously. Agenda item 8 is Eccleshall Library lease. We are testing to destruction the theory you can't get enough of a good thing. Here we go again, Councillor DeVille. We're with you.
Very many thanks, Chairman. The library is currently run by Eccleshall Mercia Community Library. I think that's a part of Eccleshall Rotary Club. The lease expires in August, and Eccleshall Parish Council have agreed to take over this function. And I'm delighted, Chairman, today to propose a new 5-year lease to the Parish Council for them to further develop this great local facility. I'd ask Mr. Causer if he wishes to make...
Mr. Causer.
Thank you. Yes, this will be on the same format of all the other commercial, lending libraries that we've got at the moment, the community lending libraries. The previous ones had a 5-year lease with 2 options to renew for further terms of 5 years. Obviously, we're now 5 or 6 years into the libraries community managed libraries programme. So this one will only have 1 option to renew to make sure they all sort of fall into line and end at the similar time. So, but other than that, the thing is fairly self-explanatory. It would be on the same basis as the other community managed library leases.
Thank you. Mr Turner, any comments to add before I ask for local member comment?
Nothing to add, thank you.
Local member comments.
Yes, thank you, Chair. 3 points to read out from Councillor Pert. I am in favour of entering into the new lease with Exshall Parish Council to take on these facilities, as without which these facilities could be lost in the community at large, and libraries play an important role within communities. I would hope that County Council would also, number 1, formally thank the Eccleshall Mercia Community Library Community Interest Company for their brilliant running of the library for the past 5 years in writing and other communications, as without them coming forward and putting their hearts and souls into the library, it could well have closed. They bravely stepped out into uncharted territory and brought the community together and did a brilliant job. There may have been other community-managed libraries in Staffordshire before the original Eccleshall lease, but it took community leadership and also a bit of a leap of faith, for which we should recognise that and thank the CIC for. Number 2, ensure that there is sufficient support in the handover and in the initial stages of the parish council running the library to ensure that this transition is seamless and the move is a complete success. And number 3, provide sufficient financial support to help in the transition and running of the library, as well as making sure the most modern facilities are available, as facilities are left without investment over a period of time can easily be overtaken and lose their unique appeal. It would be useful to approve at the same stage an investment plan for the library, maybe over the 10-year time horizon, to make sure it is as loved and valued and used at the end of the lease as it was when the county council ran it. Thank you.
Is that it? You sure there's nothing on the other side? Oh. Some of the requests in the local members' writing are out with the scope of this committee. It is simply that we are approving a lease on this matter. So I think we should constrain ourselves to discussing the lease rather than any support proposals that Councillor Pert has requested. Finance.
No comments, Chair.
Legal.
No comments, as it's a standard lease.
Back with you, Mr. Causer, on valuation.
Yeah, it is obviously it's an undervalue again at £1 per annum. So yeah, that's the only point I wish to make.
Community libraries are clearly part of our objectives as a council, so I'm quite content with the undervalue. Councillor Parry.
I mean, I'd like to say, yes, please, thank you very much, kind of thing, is the answer to this. But in terms of the moving to a new leaseholder, are we assured that they have the resources and capacity to be able to maintain the building appropriately?
Under this arrangement, the County Council maintains the properties. Yeah.
So all they're going to do is live in them?
Essentially, they run them. Yes. I mean, they have a... There's a premise manager role in terms of making sure it's opened and locked and that kind of thing accordingly, and reporting defects. But essentially, it's as an occupier. And to Councillor Pert's points about investment in the library, it doesn't really matter that it's a community managed library. The whole of the libraries are looked at in terms of what they provide and the investment in them in terms of buildings. Thank you.
Members of the committee, any other comments or questions? Ms Peach, if you could assist me in drafting a letter to the CIC, please, and I can sign that off once that's complete. I think it is with our gratitude that communities involve themselves in these libraries. It is absolutely fantastic, the ones that I've seen. My wife went to visit Shenston Library the other day and just it knocked her socks off with everything that was going on, so it's absolutely brilliant. Councillor DeVille, we're back with you for the recommendations, please.
Indeed, Chairman, and good luck to Eccleshall Parish Council. I'm sure they'll do a great job in running this library. We have two recommendations, please, Chairman. Firstly, to approve the granting of a new 5-year lease from the 5th of August 2024 of the premises known as Eccleshall Library, 20 High Street, Eccleshall, Staffordshire, ST21 6BZ, to the Eccleshall Parish Council at a rent of £1 per annum, if demanded to run a community managed library with an option to renew for a further term of 5 years on similar terms. And the second recommendation, Chairman, is the terms of the lease will be very similar to the format of leases agreed for other community managed libraries in the county, with approval of the precise terms of agreement being delegated to the Assistant Director for Commercial and Assets. Two recommendations, Chair.
You've heard the recommendations. All those in favour?
Agreed.
For the record, that's unanimous. Moving on then to agenda item number 9, Wombourne Cricket and Bowling Club. Now, for people attending this committee meeting, you do need to prepare yourself for the fact that both Councillor DeVille and Councillor Parry are cricket nuts. And should there be any talk of a Brisbane sticky at any point, that's a cricketing term. Wombourne Cricket and Bowling Club, with you, Councillor DeVille.
So I'd ask all members of the committee, no googlies, please, this morning. Great news, Chairman. Wombourne Cricket, Tennis and Bowling Club wishes to continue occupying accommodation, but they have formed a new organisation to secure the future of the club, and the proposal is to grant a new lease, Chairman. Can I ask Peter if there's any further background information you'd like to share? Peter?
Thank you, Councillor DeVille. As Chairman, essentially we are stuck with a very restrictive covenant, which I don't think we would accept today, that we accepted in the 1940s. And if we didn't grant them a new lease, we're likely to end up having an area which was not occupied, and the responsibilities of that. So although it's at £1 per annum, it's worth it to us to continue.
Thank you. Mr. Turner, any comments?
I'd just like to say that whilst Peter's completely correct around this, you know, we still look after the best interests of the county council and try and regularise these things. So in this particular scenario, there was a bizarre situation where the county council was left with the maintenance of the boundaries. So Peter's managed to negotiate that liability away from us. It's better that the cricket club look after it, to be honest. So yeah, as we go through these things, we do try and tidy up bits and pieces as we go along. Yeah. So thanks for concentrating on that detail, Peter.
Thank you. Ms. Peach, local member input.
Yes, just a comment from Councillor Davis. I have no objections locally.
Suitably succinct. Finance.
Nothing to add, Chair.
Legal.
No comments.
Valuation.
No further comment, no. Thank you.
Members of the committee, any comments on the proposal? Councillor Parry.
Fair and unbiased view. This was land presumably that was gifted to the county council and with some restricted covenants on it to say what you can and can't do with it. And so in a sense, it's not an asset that we would have normally assumed as part of our portfolio of assets in the council. And therefore, in a sense, that loss of what you might otherwise do with it doesn't really appear, because it's academic, isn't it? Because you couldn't. So in that case, this feels like this is just a restructure of the club that's moving to a different status, and therefore just wants to refresh its arrangement on the lease to tie the whole thing up legally, I guess. It feels like a straight bat to me, Chair.
I am a little surprised you missed the opportunity to lobby once more for a Staffordshire County cricket ground, but members of the committee, any other comments? Councillor DeVille, we're back with you for the recommendation, please.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd just like also to take the opportunity to thank Peter and other officers, because they paid due diligence in looking at the detail around this transaction, Chairman. And that attention to detail absolutely ensures that we're looking after the best interests of the Staffordshire taxpayers, best interests of the club and the best interests of the local community. There's one, so thank you, Peter. There's one recommendation, Chairman, to take surrender of the existing lease from members of Wombourne Cricket, Tennis and Bowling Club and grant a new lease for a period of 20 years from the 1st of January 2024 until the 31st of December 2043 at a peppercorn rent to Wombourne Cricket, Tennis and Bowling Club. The charity number is 1206678 and the final terms and conditions, Chairman, to be delegated to the Assistant Director for Commercial and Assets. Over.
You've heard the recommendations. All those in favour?
Agreed.
That is unanimous. Agenda item 10 is that the public be excluded from the meeting for the following items of business which involve the likely disclosure of exempt information as defined in the paragraphs of Part 1 of Schedule 12A as amended of the Local Government Act 1972 as indicated below.